Let's look at the new features in RTB. So initially, let's look at the old version, and we had the size and we had a subdivision ability there, and you would click OK, and away you'd go. And then subdivide, turn the wireframe on, and yeah, that's how it worked. In version 1.7, we have a couple of new options. We've got triangle size, where you can change the initial size of the triangle. You've also got the option there to stagger rows, as we would have done before. That was how it worked before. We can turn that off and you'll notice the difference straight away. Is that the edges are straight, and if we turn wireframe on with W, they're straight as well. I don't know that I like it personally. The triangles themselves are now a slightly different shape. They're not as uniform, so you've got a much longer edge there and shorter edges. So when we do subdivide this now, it still subdivides well, but you know, it's not an even triangle. So that's the first of many changes. So one of the new features that we've got is with editing points. It's certainly been enhanced quite a bit. We had the ability before to be able to lift these up and down, but it's certainly got an improvement here. We've got a gizmo so you can move them up. We've also got translational, more on that in a bit. These different ways of affecting the points have been modified. So I now calculate a hull, an invisible hull right around the scene, and depending on how far away the point is from the edge determines how much strength it gets. So you can use that, or you can click on any of these edge points. No need to hold shift on that, but you'll notice that an improvement, a big improvement, is if you've got a long strip of points selected here. Before, it was very uneven if you went from side to side. If you had a very long versus a very short width, it was a little bit uneven. So the whole method around that has really improved the movement onto that. Be very careful with moving these points around. Obviously that strength function is also working with that, but if you go too far you'll get really weird results. I'm not going to do anything to prevent that, so just be mindful when moving things around. You can also get into trouble when you've got it raised there and you think, oh, that's pretty cool, but you come around the other side, it's all exposed. So I don't think I'm going to flip these edges. I could potentially detect that and flip them over. I'm not sure I want to. Yeah, give me feedback. 3 key editing features that we need to use is to merge points. We can merge them into one point. We can delete them, which opens up a big gap. But we also need to add. So holding Control and moving the point should merge that to that point. So we've got auto merge here on. So if you have that on, it will merge if you're close enough. And it usually works well. I'll fill that hole in. And oh, there's one there. So if I just lasso around them and press the M key, that merges them. We can take that a little bit further, the merging of points. Say we've got these 3 points, we can take them over, and if we line them up carefully enough, we can get them all to merge all at once. That's a pretty handy feature. And lastly, probably a useful feature is to extend the terrain. So if we want to select a whole bunch of points here, and in fact I'm just going to select widely into this area so we get a couple of these points as well. But all we're going to do is hold the E key and then click and drag away. And because these were on the edge, they were the only ones that got extruded. So it ignores any points on the interior here. And so I can hold E again and click and drag, and if we wanted to modify these, we could E, click and drag, and if I line that up, that joined as well. So that auto merge is happening on that edge point. And E, click and drag, line it up there. So control to pull out, and it'll auto merge if close enough and you've got that checkbox on. Lastly, I'll talk about this remove detail or add terrain. It's not really working at the moment. I've disabled it because things were radically different. I do have it as this sort of, I did it for my own testing really when developing this. I could select a whole lot of triangles and do a subdivision on it. So it's still used in there. The delete on it won't work, so that's been disabled. I'm thinking of getting rid of it altogether and simply just doing a subdivision by selecting all of that and then having a menu here where you could say subdivide selected triangles. So really that tool is of little use now. Lastly, what I'll touch on is the number of changes that have been made to the start finish objects. There's a lot there. I'm not going to go all of it over all of it here. Some of it's fairly self-explanatory, and some you'll be able to figure out. I will do a full set of tutorials once this is all done. This is basically a quick show of what's changed. So you've got Centerline editing here, and you can move the corridors. These are the corridors. Holding shift down moves the whole corridor. You can select multiple ones using shift or drag, and shift drag. And we've got the Centerline, you've got the Fastline, and you've got a Pitlane. The Pitlane comes with pits and garages, which you can also move in and out. I've still probably got a bit of work around this to do, and they also have their corridors which you can move with shift as well to move the whole thing. And you can control click to insert like you can with other nodes. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I've got some more work to do, especially around undos and getting the save work. But if you got any feedback or you find any bugs currently, please let me know. Thanks for watching.